Okay, welcome to DCEB Suryapeta YouTube channel, Khammam and Suryapeta districts. Welcome 10th class online classes, social studies. Today we are going to learn third part of fifth lesson in 10th class social studies, that is Indian rivers and water resources. Already we have discussed part 1 and part 2. Today in our class we are going to discuss part 3. In part 1 and part 2 we have discussed about Himalayan rivers and river systems in India, and the second part we have discussed about the water resources and inflows and outflows, surface water and groundwater. Like that, we have discussed Tungabhadra River Basin, how they are sharing water and what are the water disputes between the different states, between Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, and Kerala, Tamil Nadu. Like that, so many we have discussed so many disputes related to water resources. Like that, today we are going to learn about a remaining part of our lesson, that is okay. Before going to the lesson, I want to introduce myself. This is Vade Chandrasekhar, school assistant, social studies working at GHS CPS Madira in Khammam district. Okay, our lesson is Indian rivers and water resources. So today, the learning outcomes of today's class. The student explains about the rational and equitable use of water. So by listening our class, the students can explain what is the rational usage of water and the equitable use of water. So he can explain how to use water and what is the importance of water also they can explain. So then the student explains about the Ivare Bazaar experience. So in our lesson we are going to discuss about a practical example about related to Ivare Bazaar, which was implemented by Maharashtra state government. So they can explain each and every point of this experience. And third learning outcome is the student explains the importance of four bandis. So in this Ivare Bazaar, they have implemented some bandis. So the student can explain about those also. The student explains that water as common pool resource. So nowadays we are facing so many water problems, water related problems all over the world, not only in our state, all over the world we are facing, the people are facing so many problems related to the water. So the student explain about water as common pool resource, whether it is a common pool resource or a private resource, he can explain. Okay, these are the learning outcomes of today's class. So children, listen carefully. I will try to explain each and every point of today's class. So rational and equitable use of water. So what is the rational use of water or equitable use of water? So we have seen so many traditional methods related to water harvesting and rational use of water from ancient times. So from ancient times also we are using so many traditional methods and water harvesting like tanks, lakes, uh, watershed schemes like that we are implementing. And in an earlier times we depend only on open wells for water and rivers, streams and canals. But nowadays the demand for water is increased. That's why we are digging deeper bore wells also. So when we want to think about rational or and equitable use of water, first we should look at all inflows and outflows which is coming into our related to our village. So when we are thinking about needs of our villagers, we should think first what are the inflows and what are the outflows and what is the stock of water. So what is the availability of water also we should calculate. Then only a judicious and fair use of water can be worked out. So based on the stock or availability of water in our area, we should plan for that only. So we have to reduce our needs according to the availability of water. Then only we can prepare a judicious and fair use of water plans based on our needs and based on availability of water in our village. So based on the availability and based on the inflows and outflows, and is there any chance for the future inflows like that, based on this we should plan properly. and implementation schemes also should be implemented. So then only we can use water rationally and equitably. Okay, so it should be done for every village, every district, and every state and every country. Then only all the people can enjoy the water. Otherwise, some places they may face a drought conditions, and in some places they may face floods also. So based on the availability of water, we should plan properly. Should implement related schemes also. So this is about rational and equitable use of water. Then here in our textbook, they have given one experience, practical experience, which was implemented in Ivare Bajar. So before going to the learn about the experience, first we should learn about Ivare Bajar. So Ivare Bajar is a village. Okay, it is located in Ahmednagar district in Maharashtra state. The location of Ivare Bajar is in Ahmednagar district in Maharashtra state. So why we have to discuss about Ivare Bajar? What is the importance of this village? What they have implemented in their village to overcome the water problem? So first and foremost important thing is this village selected for Adarsh Gram Yojana of Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme, which was implemented by Maharashtra state government. So scheme meant for watershed and all-round development of the village. So watershed nothing but conservation of water and storage of water. Okay. So based on the storage, by using different methods, by implementing different types of activities, we should store some water in rainy season and use for the further seasons up to summer season and up to next coming rainy season. So these are all included in this scheme. The name of the scheme is Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme, which was implemented by Maharashtra government. So this is made for watershed and all-round development of the village. So this is a brief history of Ivare Bajar. Then, so children, are you observing the map of Maharashtra? So this is a map of Maharashtra. So in the circle, there is a district is there, that is Ahmednagar district, where the Ivare Bajar is located. So it is located, Ivare Bajar is located in Ahmednagar district. So if you observe the location of the Ahmednagar, it is very near to the western coastal region. So here the Western Ghats are there. So Ahmednagar is located in the leeward rain shadow region of Western Ghats. Okay, geography of Ivare Bajar. If you see the location of Ivare Bajar, why the government selected only Ivare Bajar for implementation of this scheme? That is, it is situated on the eastern side of Sahyadri mountain ranges that run north to south and separate Konkan, the coastal region, from the rest of the Maharashtra. Okay, if you see the Maharashtra map, here in a first class, in first lesson we have discussed about Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. So Western Ghats are running from north to south like this. So the Ahmednagar district is located in the east side of Sahyadri mountains, which are the part of Western Ghats. So the location of Ahmednagar is in rain shadow area of Western Ghats, because the in rainy season in our India, southwest monsoons are coming from this direction. So because of the southwest monsoon, the Western Ghats are receiving more rainfall, but other side of the Western Ghats is not getting sufficient rainfall, because the Western Ghats are obstructing the southwest monsoons and they are receiving more rainfall. But the eastern side of the Western Ghats, they are not getting sufficient rainfall in rainy season. That's why Ahmednagar district is located in a drought-prone area. Okay, so the annual rainfall about only 400 millimeter or 40 centimeters rainfall they're receiving in rainy season. Okay, that's why the government selected Ivare Bajar for this scheme, because they are in drought prone area. Ahmednagar is a drought prone district. They are facing so much of water problem. Okay, that's why to overcome this water problem, the government is planned to implement Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme. So activities taken up in Ivare Bajar under this scheme. So Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme, what are the activities in the scheme? So first and foremost activity is soil and water conservation works were implemented. Okay, water and soil conservation activities. In common lands and on private lands. So these schemes or works are implemented in common lands and private grasslands also. So what are the water and soil conservation activities? Here, first one is digging of continuous contour trenches, CCTs. So what is CCT? CCT is a continuous contour trenches. So like this, in the picture you can see the contour trenches. So this is a long small canal like structure. So the in rainy season when they are getting rains, the rainwater filled in these trenches, and it is useful for percolation of rainwater into the ground. So it will helpful for the improvement of groundwater. So that's why first they dug so many CCTs, continuous contour trenches, in open lands and private grasslands also, to recharge the groundwater. So CCTs are helpful to control soil erosion and harvest, useful for harvest water and encourage growth of grass. So because of the CCTs, first and first importance is it helpful for improvement of the groundwater. So then another importance is it reduces the soil erosion. Okay, so when the streams are coming from the upward, from a high lying area to low lying area, the some of the top layer of the soil is coming with the rainwater, come along with the rainwater. That type of silt deposit in the contour trenches. So CCTs are helpful to reduce the soil erosion also. So at the same time, when the CCT is filled with rainwater, that moisture spread into the top layer of the soil around the CCT, that will helpful for the improvement growth for the grass. Okay, growth of grass in the CCT regions. So here we have discussed three with the CCTs, that are it reduces the soil erosion and it improves groundwater, and it helpful for the growth of grass near this region. Okay, then water harvesting structures. So water harvesting structures means, so to store the rainwater and to recharge groundwater in rainy season. First, check dams and percolation tanks in loose boulder structures. So check dams is small wall type structures against the small streams which are formed in rainy season. So these check dams store some rainwater, and that will helpful for the recharge of groundwater. The same time percolation tanks also. So these are also helpful for recharge of groundwater. So at the same time, loose boulder structures in the uh, areas where the streams are forming in rainy season. So these boulder structures are helpful for slow down the speed of stream, and helpful for the percolation of rainwater into the ground. These are the water harvesting structures which are helpful for the improvement of groundwater. At the same time, plantations, they planted so many trees on forest lands and roadsides also. So why do we need forest, and we have to why do we need plant more trees? So when we plant more trees, that will helpful for to get more rains. So where the green cover is there, in those regions we will get more rains. That's why they gave importance to plant more trees in forest lands and the roadsides also. So these are the activities which were taken up in the Evaria Bajar under Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme. So these are all activities are useful for the improvement of groundwater, that leads to overcome the water problems. Okay, so here you can observe the two pictures. One is a CCT, and the second one is a borewell machine. So this machine used for drawing out water from the deeper bore wells. Okay, so where we are using this type of machines in drought prone regions. So the government set up some preconditions for this scheme before selecting a village. So the villagers or the village they which selected for this scheme, they should follow these preconditions compulsory. So that is the first condition of this scheme. So in this scheme, some preconditions are set for selection of villagers. Four important bandis or bans. Bandi is nothing but bans made famous by Ralegaon Siddhi experience. So Ralegaon Siddhi is famous for Anna Hazare. Okay, so the bandis which were implemented in Ralegaon Siddhi experience, in the Ralegaon Siddhi they got a success. So the same bandis tried to implement in this scheme also. So the first bandi or ban is Kurhat Bandi. First one is Kurhat Bandi, that is ban of felling trees. So we should not, the villagers should not cut any tree in the village. Okay, that is the first condition. Then second condition is a Charai Bandi, ban of free grazing of cattle in open lands. So the villagers should not allow their cattle into open lands for free grazing, but they have chance or they allowed to cut the grass and to feed their animals, but they don't allow to their cattle to free grazing. So if they allowed for free grazing, that reduces the grass on the top layer of the soil, that increases the soil erosion also. That's why the villagers, they should not allow their cattle to for free grazing. So third one is a Nasbandi, family planning. So every villager or every family, they should follow some family planning instructions which were set up by Maharashtra government. Then only they thought that we will success the scheme. The fourth one is a Nasha Bandi, ban on liquor. So the villagers should not take any liquor and they should not allow any liquor shops in the village. Okay, these are the four important bandis which were implemented, or these are the preconditions of this scheme. So before selecting the village, all the villagers, they should accept these four bandis to implement in their village. Kurhat Bandi, ban of felling trees. Charai Bandi, ban of free grazing. Nas Bandi, family planning. Nasha Bandi, ban on liquor. These are the preconditions. And one more important aspect is there in this scheme, that is Shramdan, voluntary physical labor. Okay, all the villagers voluntarily they should participate in the physical activity which were useful for the development of village. So all the villagers, they should contribute some Shramdan for the development of their village, whatever they can. That only they have to implement or involve, except for the landless who are exempt for it. So some of the people who don't have land, they are exempted from this precondition, that is a Shramdan activity, because they depended their own on their physical activity. That's why they are exempted. Okay, these are the important preconditions of this scheme. So here children, are you observing the picture? Here is in the first picture, the sheep or cattle allowed to free grazing. So what will happen if we allow the cattle to free grazing? Okay, where the rainfall is very low or scanty rainfall is there, in those regions we should not allow cattle for free grazing. If we allow for free grazing, that pick out all the grass from the land. Okay, up to the roots also, the cattle or sheep, they picked out. So because of the picking of all the grass along with the roots, that leads to the soil erosion, and the top layer of the soil eroded in the rainy season, which won't allow for the growth of grass in next season. That's why that leads to the fodder scarcity. That's why they decided to not to allow for free grazing. So here in the second picture, the people of village, they participated in the Shramdan activity. So it is a voluntary physical work without any wage or without paying any wages. For the development of their village, they have to contribute something. So here another two pictures are there. This is a felling of trees. So the villagers should not allow to cut any tree in the village. So if you cut all the trees in the village, they won't get rainfall. So whenever we have more green cover, then only we will get more rainfall. Otherwise, if you don't have trees, we won't get rains in rainy season also. Trees are helpful for cool down the clouds. So where the green cover is more, in those regions we will get more rainfall. That's why this is also one of the precondition not to cut any tree. So another precondition is a liquor ban. So if we allow the liquor, the villagers, they should not follow some village rules and regulations. That's why they won't allow liquor into the village. So what is the significance of these 5 ideals? What is the importance of these ideals? So tree felling and open grazing was common among both rich and poor people in this village. That's why first they wanted to control this free grazing. Surrounding hillocks and had a barren look. If we allow for free grazing, the total hillocks or barren lands look like a barren land without any grass. So at the same time, soil erosion was prominent if we allow for free grazing. Groundwater levels are very low in this region. Fodder and fuel wood shortage were common because they are allowing for free grazing and they are cutting all the trees and they are dragging out all the groundwater, but they are not giving importance for the recharge of groundwater. That's why they are facing so much of water problems. That's why they wanted to implement these 5 ideals to improve the conditions of the village. So here implementation: ban on free grazing, people allowed to cut grass and carry it to feed animals. So here ban on only free grazing of cattle, but not on cutting of grass and carry to the home. So the villagers are allowed to cut the grass and carry to their village, their home, and feed their animals. So this is allowed. And ban on bore wells for irrigation. So all the villagers, they should depend on open wells only. They should not dig any bore well or deeper bore wells. So if we dig a deeper bore wells, that dragging out all the groundwater, so that leads to depletion of groundwater, and the same problem will arise again. Ban on growing sugarcane and banana. Children, can you guess why they banned sugarcane and banana crops in that Ivare Bazaar? Anyone can guess? Because sugarcane and banana crops, they need more water. So already they are facing water problem. If they cultivate sugarcane and banana, they need more water. That's why they implemented ban on sugarcane and banana crops, and ban on selling one's land to any outsider or any person of outsiders. Okay, this is also important. Why they don't allow the people to sell their land to the outsiders? So if any outsider will enter into the village, they may not follow the rules and regulations of the villages. Okay, that's why they banned the selling of one's land to the outsiders also. Okay, so these are the important bans and implementation of the 4 bandis. Here we have discussed about the scheme and preconditions of the scheme and implementation of the scheme. So then what will happen? Okay, what happened after implementation of this scheme? Is there any positive result? Yes, they got positive result. So that indicates in the statistics which are taken from the village. So those are summer crops increased from 7 to 72 hectares. Okay, before implementation of this scheme, only 7 acres of summer crops are there. But after implementation of this scheme, that summer crops increased up to 72 hectares. Okay, this is a very good result. Okay, then increased water in bore wells. Okay, already some of bore wells are there. In those bore wells, the water level or water table increased in the village. Okay, that is also positive sign. Sufficient water for Kharif, Bajra and Rabi Jowar. and some summer vegetable crops also. Okay, before implementation of this scheme, they didn't have water for summer crops, and they didn't have sufficient water for kharif and rabi also. But after implementation of this scheme, they have sufficient water for kharif, bajra and rabi jowar, and for summer crops also, vegetable crops also, they have water. At the same time, because of the ccts, because of the plantation, soil moisture improved, and it helps to increase productivity of the land. Okay, because of the ccts, which helps to recharge the groundwater, that helps to the increase the moisture in the soil. When soil moisture increased in the land, that leads to increase in the productivity of land. Okay, so diverse crops, cash crops like potatoes, onions, fruits, flowers and wheat also cultivated in the village because of this scheme. At the same time, second crop made possible because of this Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme. Okay, before implementation of this scheme, second crop is not possible, but this scheme made possible of second crop. At the same time, and one more important thing is migrations from out migrations are stopped, and in migrations are started because of this scheme. Before implementation of the scheme, some of the villagers, they were going out to the other villages or other cities in search of work or employment. But when they have sufficient water in the village, they have work in their village only. Okay, okay, that stopped the migrations. Then productivity increased. Before implementation of scheme, a lack of sufficient water for the crops, they are getting only low productivity. Okay, after implementation of the scheme, moisture, uh, soil moisture improved. At the same time, sufficient water is available for the crops. Because of the water availability, the lands, the productivity from the same land increased. Okay, conditions of wage employment improved. Okay, works are increased in the village. At the same time, conditions of wage employment improved. Okay, rates going up, the wages also increased in the village because the works are increased. Then crop planning and water prioritization also implemented in the village. Crop planning based on the rainfall of that particular year, and based on the availability of the water, they prepared some crop planning and water prioritization uh, plans. Okay, so these are also helpful for the development of village. At the same time, improvement of livestock economy, along with the agriculture, livestock economy also increased in the village because water availability is increased. It leads to the availability of grass, so that leads to the improvement of livestock economy. Dairy industry, animals also increased in the village. So daily dairy industry, they gathered only before implementation of the scheme, only 140 liters of uh, milk is available in the village. But after implementation of the scheme, nearly 3,000 liters per day the milk is available. Loans are available to small farmers also. So the banks also ready to give loans because the water is available more in the village. That gives assurance for the good yielding or good crops. So that's why bankers also ready to give loans to the villagers or small farmers. So here children observe the pictures before implementation of the scheme and after implementation of the scheme. Clearly you can observe the difference before and after. So before, so barren look is there, so without any grass or trees. So here the people involved in the Shramdan activity, which were useful for the development of the village. So here so many ccts, they dug so many ccts for the water conservation activity. So here you can observe the cct also. So after implementation of the water and soil conservation activities, so you can observe around the ccts, you can observe the green cover of grass improved, growth of the grass increased. Okay, here after plantation in forest lands and open lands, so much of green cover is increased. So this green cover useful for the getting more rainfall in rainy season. Okay, so this is the photographs of this scheme related to Ivare Bazaar before implementation and after implementation. Clearly you can understand by seeing these pictures. So then another subtopic in our lesson is water as common pool resource. So nowadays we are facing so many water problems. So there is a big debate in front of us, that is water as common pool. Water is a common pool resource or a private resource. So some of the people, they are demanding or they are arguing that in our land we have a right to dig so much of deeper bore wells. This is because this is our land. So there is no argument with the villagers like that. Some of the borewell owners, they are demanding with the villagers, but here land is constant. Okay, we have clear cut boundaries for our land, but water is not a constant. Water is a flow resource. We don't have any constant boundaries to the water resources. So at the same time, water resources are two types: surface flows and groundwater. So we cannot we cannot draw the clear cut boundaries of surface water. At the same time, we cannot have any boundaries to the groundwater. So when if we think about water is a private resource, so in our land we can have a right to dig more deeper bore wells, but that leads to the drying up of other bore wells outside our land, because the groundwater connected to each other, all the region in that area. Okay, in the region, in the ground, but the water loss or present loss are linked, the water loss are linked with the land loss. Okay, groundwater extraction cannot control at a smaller unit or a village. Current laws in many states outdated and inappropriate. Present laws or acts are allowed deeper digging of deeper bore wells. Land ownership and water extraction linked, but this link should be divided. So land ownership is different from water extraction. So if you extract more water from your land, that leads to the dry up of all the region, because water is interlinked in the ground, connected to the other water sources in the ground. There are no boundaries to the groundwater. That's why we should renew our land related and water related acts, and we should divide land water ownership and water extraction. So affects the stock of water available for future generations. If you dig water, if you dig more deeper bore wells and extract more water, excess water from the ground, that leads to the depletion of groundwater, and there is no water availability for future generations. Okay, always while we are thinking about our development, we should think about sustainable development also. So along with our development, we should think about the development of future generations also. Okay, while we are using our available resources, we should leave some natural resources for the development of future generations. That is nothing but sustainable development. So we should not think only the development of ourselves. We should think about the sustainable development. So that is very, very useful for the development of the country or village or a state or a district. So every citizen, every state or every government should think in that way only. So based on the sustainable development, needs of sustainable development, the act should be changed. Water should thought of as a collective pool resource. Water is not a private resource. Water is a collective pool resource. Water is public property. Okay, like that, a water dispute raised in Kerala state between a multinational corporate company, Coca-Cola company, and a Perumatti Gram Panchayat. Is a small village. Perumatti is a small village. So there is a big issue between a Coca-Cola company and Perumatti village. So Perumatti village Gram Panchayat, they gave permission to the Coca-Cola company to set up a bottling plant in that village. But because of the bottling plant which was set up by Coca-Cola company, the groundwater depletion is going on in the village, and the villagers or farmers are facing so much of a water problem for their crops. So in the next year, the Perumatti Gram Panchayat, they didn't renewal the permission of Coca-Cola company, but the big corporate company, they filed a case in the High Court, but in the High Court, the different contradictory verdict given by the judges. So two judges bench, they gave a different verdict. That is, one judge argued with water is a collective pool resource, and another judge, they gave water is a private resource. Like that, that case was is in the courts. Okay, like that, in future also so many water disputes will arise. That's why we should change our acts related to water as a collective pool resource. Water is not a private resource. Okay, everyone should think like that only. Okay, so this is about water as a common pool resource. We should think about the sustainable development, not for the private development. So children, up to now we have discussed about two subtopics: rational and equitable use of water, and water as a common pool resource. So I think I thought clearly to the students. I think you understood very much. So once again, I recaptured the lesson briefly. So in the system, in the lesson, we have discussed about drainage system in India depends on physiographic conditions. So in the first part, we have discussed about Himalayan rivers, peninsular rivers. So those are all water resources, and drainage system depends on the physiographic units like Himalayas, Indo-Gangetic Plain, and Peninsular Plateau. So water use depends on inflow and outflow of water. So water use in our village should depend on inflow and outflow of water related to our region. Proper planning and implementation should be needed. Based on the inflow and outflow, we should calculate the stock of water or availability of water related to our region, and based on the availability of water, we should confirm our needs to that stock of water. Okay, for that we should have some proper plans and implementation mechanism also. We have to learn from Ivare Bajar experience. Okay, in our class we have discussed about Ivare Bajar experience. So Ivare Bajar got all positive result by implementing this scheme. So in our villages also we will try to implement this type of schemes to increase the availability of water. So we have discussed now only water as a common pool resource. Water is not a private resource. So everyone should think as water as common pool resource. Collective action at local level, state and national level should be needed. So state governments and national governments or central government, they should frame some acts related to the present conditions. Those acts should be implemented in the low ground level by collective action at local level. By our actions, future generations should be benefited. So actions of ourselves, because of our actions, future generations should be benefited. So that's why we should concentrate on the sustainable development. We should leave some resources for the future generations also. Okay, like this we can understand this lesson. Okay children, then here's some of the questions for the evaluation purpose from our today's class. Children, try to write the answers for these questions in a separate notebook and show it to our social studies teacher in your school. Okay, first question is where is Ivare Bajar located? So here you have to write the location of the Ivare Bajar, in which district it is located and in which state it is located, and the geography of the Ivare Bajar you have to write here. So the second question is explain about Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme. So what is the importance of scheme and what are the important preconditions of this scheme? So like that you have to explain about Adarsh Gram Yojana scheme. What are the reasons for the selection of Ivare Bajar? Why the Maharashtra government or state government selected this Ivare Bajar for implementation of this scheme? So what are the reasons beyond that? You have to write here. So fourth question is what are 4 important bandis? So already we have discussed about 4 bandis: Kurhat Bandi, Nash Bandi, Charai Bandi, Nasa Bandi. Like that you have to write. So fifth one, appreciate the efforts of Ivare Bajar villagers. So how they involved in the implementation of the scheme, and artfully they involved in that implementation and they got positive results. So we should appreciate the efforts of Ivare Bajar villagers. The Sixth question is water as common pool resource. Write your own opinion. So whether it is, in your opinion, whether it is a common pool resource or a private resource, write your opinion and support it with suitable examples and suitable reasons. Okay, children, these are evaluation questions for today's class. Okay, thank you one and all. Okay, up to now we have discussed three parts in our lesson, fifth lesson, Indian rivers and water resources. So with this class we have completed fifth lesson in our 10th class.